Hey everyone, so today we're going to focus on mobility, which is so important, not just for injury prevention, but also for feeling your best during a workout and in everyday life. There will be instances throughout this video where we hold a position for a little longer, hence the stretch portion of mobility and stretch, but static stretching really is not the focus, it's more on movement. So we'll be mobilizing the spine, the shoulders, the hips. This is going to feel really good. This is a great video to do if maybe you've had a couple days in a row of tough workouts and your body's feeling a little sore, but you just want to move it around a little bit. It could also be done post-workout as kind of your cool down. Portions of it absolutely could be used as a warm-up before a workout as well, but just keep in mind that I don't really recommend doing static stretches before a workout necessarily. You want your body to be warm before you go into holding a position. So if you are using this as your warm-up, when we're holding a position, I might recommend that you continue to move instead. And then just one final note before we get going, I am not a yoga instructor. So I know some of the movements we do you might recognize from yoga class, but my cues are probably going to be a little different because I'm not a yoga teacher and I'm not trying to teach a yoga class. So my instructions come from a personal training and a Pilates background instead. Now with all that said, let's get started. So we're just going to start by finding a comfortable seated position. I'm going to sit cross-legged. You might want to sit on a block. If you have tight hips and you don't have a block, I would recommend putting a towel or just folding your mat a couple times and sitting on that because you want to have a neutral pelvic bone regardless of the seated position. You can close your eyes if you want to, but otherwise just take a few breaths, tune your attention to it, don't overthink it, just breathe. And now next time you inhale, we're going to inhale through the nose, and I want you to focus on expanding the rib cage. Exhale is through the mouth. Again, inhale through the nose, ribs expand east to west. On the exhale, rib cage gently moves in and down. We're engaging through the abdominal wall, gentle lift of the pelvic floor. One more time like that. Inhale, big expansion of the rib cage, as if you could grow wider across your mid-back. Exhale through the mouth. And if you closed your eyes, you can open them back up again. We're going to start with our right arm. I want you to tense your left fingertips on the floor. On an inhale, your right arm is going to sweep up overhead, coming into a side bend. Relax the neck. And on the exhale, stay in the side bend, but just rotate, twisting your chest slightly towards the floor. Keep reaching with that right arm. Good. We're going to untwist it. And then you're going to come back up and over. Same arm twice more. Inhale, arm reaches up overhead. Exhale, spiral. Reach. Good. Untwist the shape. Stay in the side bend. Then come back up and over once more. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Rotate, reach to that side corner of the room. Untwist. Sit it back up and let's go over to the other side. Right fingertips tent on the floor. Left arm reaches up and overhead on the inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, open up through the chest. And come back up. Let's do that twice more. This arm. Up and over. Exhale, twist. That should feel really nice. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Left arm sweeps up and overhead. Twist it. Untwist. Come up to seated. Okay, we're going to find a tabletop position now, and we're going to do some cat-cows, but we're going to start tailbone, and then the rounding moves like a wave up towards the head. So to start, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Inhale to prepare. On the exhale, start with your tailbone. Gentle tuck. You're rounding the back up towards the ceiling, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way through the neck and head. Good. Now on your next exhale, you're going to undo the shape starting with your tailbone, vertebrae by vertebrae. Coming through neutral, find a little bit of spinal extension. One more time like this. On the exhale, it starts with your tailbone up through the low, mid, cervical spine. And undo it, starting with your tailbone. Coming through neutral, find a little bit of extension. And I want you to just start moving freely, okay? Move with your breath in any way that feels good, rounding the spine up towards the ceiling, and then opening up through the chest, coming into that little bit of extension. It can feel good to add in a circular movement, getting into the side body a little bit. It can also feel good to add some front to back movement as you slowly move through this cat-cow. A few more seconds moving freely like this. And when you're ready, I want you to come to neutral. Now, next up, we're still in a tabletop, but I'm just going to turn to face you so that you can see me. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and now take your right leg and extend it out to the side, but make sure that your left hip is still stacked over the left knee, and check in on your elbows, and if they're locked, especially if they're hyperextended, I want you to just unlock them so there's a little softness to them. Spine is neutral, so reach the top of your head long. Tailbone does not tuck under. You also don't dump into your low back, okay? Now from here, take this right leg and I want you to spiral it open. It's slight, okay? The femur is rotating open in the hip joint. And we're gonna start to move the shape back and forward. So this whole shape shifts back and bring it forward. I'm hitting my couch, don't mind me. We're gonna do this 5 times. Shift the shape back without tucking the tailbone, and forward. If it feels good when you come forward, you can bring the shoulders an inch or 2 in front of the wrists. But you don't have to. You can stop in that stacked position. One more time like this. Next time you come forward, shoulders stop over wrists. Now I want you to take that right foot, plant it on the floor, toes point forward, foot firmly planted, and we're just going to do that same thing. With the different rotation of the leg, this will feel a little different through the groin and inner thigh area than the first round we did. Twice more. Next time you come forward, shoulders are going to stop under wrists, and we're going to release that right arm from the floor, coming into a twist. So I want you to twist open towards your straight leg, reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, broad across the collarbones, and then bring it back down. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, open up, reach. Exhale, close it back down. Last time. Don't lock out the supporting left elbow. That reminder is as much for you as it is for me. All right, both hands down. Now bring your right knee back into the quadruped position. We're going to continue that twist, but we're going to take it into a thread the needle, so we're making the range of motion a little bigger. Inhale, reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Now on the exhale, little bend to the left elbow as you thread that right arm through, cheek taps on the floor, and then we open right back up. Twice more like that. Exhale, thread the needle. Reach, 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 reach. Now at the end of this last rep, we are going to hold a static stretch. But again, if you are using this as a warm-up, then maybe you keep moving instead of hold. If you're going into the stretch though, I want you to rest the cheek down on the floor. Make sure that your right shoulder isn't shrugged up to the ear. You might need to slide it away from the ear a little bit. And then you have the option to take your left hand and reach it forward. And stay here for a couple breaths. With every inhale, I want you to think about expanding the rib cage, breathing into that mid-back. One more breath here. You're going to walk that left hand in. One final counter twist. Come back up. Right arm reaches to the ceiling. Last time. Bring both hands down towards the floor into your tabletop. And now we're going to do that whole thing to the other side. So you're going to take your left leg, extend it out to the side. Hands under shoulders, right knee under right hip. And then we're going to take that little external rotation. So your toes are off the floor. You're thinking of rotating the femur bone in the hip joint. So it doesn't have to be a big rotation open. From here, let's start to shift that shape back and forward. Again, you're maintaining a neutral spine here. So as you shift back, I don't want you to tuck the tailbone under. Twice more. Next time you come forward, stop with the shoulders over the wrists, and we're gonna flatten that foot. So now your right toes point forward, same movement. Gonna feel a little different through the inner thigh and groin area. Oh yeah, I feel that. And forward. Check in with your head. If it's hanging heavy, you need to lift your chin off of your chest. Picture going long through the back of the neck. Final time. When you come forward, you're going to stop with shoulders over your wrists, and now we're going to take that twist. So your left arm comes off the floor, open up broad across the collarbones, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, close it back down. Twice more like that. Don't lock out the supporting elbow. Last time like this. Both hands down to the floor, bring that left knee in, back to your tabletop position. Now we're going to make it a little bigger, adding in that thread the needle. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling on an inhale. On the exhale, thread the needle, bend that right elbow, bring your cheek to the floor. Moving fluidly, inhale, bring it back, open, twist. Exhale, bring it through. One more time like this. You can either keep moving or we're going to hold this one. Thread that arm through. Whoops, you're in the way, Pickles. And stay. Now we're going to slide that left shoulder away from the ear. And then if you did so on the first side, take that right arm and reach it forward. Sorry, Pickles. Few deep breaths here, thinking about expanding through the rib cage with every inhale. On the inhale, create space through your mid-back. And we're going to come out of this, so you're going to bend that right elbow, bring that right hand in, push off the floor, one final counter twist, open up. Come back through tabletop, and I want you to just find a child's pose. Let's get off of our wrists and give them a break. I want you to flip your palms up towards the ceiling and just rest here for a few breaths. So coming up after this, we're going to come to a down dog position. So there will be some more stuff on your wrist, but there are also a lot of breaks in there. It's really just a couple more movements on your hands, and then we'll be standing on our feet for the rest. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come to tabletop, and then you're going to tuck your toes under, shift those hips back and up into a downward facing dog, and I want you to just pedal out the knees. So one heel drops, then the other. Should feel this through the calves. Okay, so we're going to take some hip circles here. So I want you to take your right leg and lift it up, and then bend the knee and open up through that hip. We're going to trace one big circle each direction. So trace a big circle with that knee one way, and then the other way. Stop with the hips still open, and keeping the hip open, we're going to start to shift forward into a plank. Bring that right knee to the outside of your right elbow, and then send it back up. Hip is still open. Trace one big circle either way. Other direction. Stop with the hip open. Shift the weight forward. Knee comes to the outside of your elbow. Let's do that one more time. Back into that open hip three-legged dog position. One big hip circle. Switch direction. Stop with the hip open. Shift the whole shape forward, but this time we're going to step that right foot to the outside of our right hand. So we're in this wide lizard lunge. From here, I want you to drop your left knee down. You're going to bring your torso upright. So you should feel a stretch across your back left hip flexors. I don't want you dumping into your low back though. So squeeze your glutes a little bit for me, and then think of shifting forward but without adding in that big arch of the low back. So we're going to take that same stretch we started class with, but just in this different position. So I want you to take your left arm, on the inhale, sweep it up and overhead, coming into a bit of a side bend. And on the exhale, it's that rotation, chest twist towards the floor. Reach this left arm to the corner of the room. Untwist the shape, and then bring it back up and over. Again, inhale into that side bend. Exhale, rotate. It's a spiral towards the floor. It's not huge. Untwist. Come back up. Let's do that one final time. Side bend over. Twist. Untwist. And come back up. All right, hands towards the floor. We're going to do that same thing other side. So hands to the ground, tuck your back left toes, lift that knee up, right foot steps back. Let's take it into our downward dog and pedal out through the knees. Okay, so when you're ready, left leg is going to lift up, bend the knee, open up the hips. Trying to keep equal weight in both hands though. Let's trace those hip circles, one in each direction. Big hip circle, trace it with the knee. Switch the direction. Stop with the hip open, shift your weight forward, left knee to the outside of that left arm, and then send it back. One big hip circle either direction. Stop with the hip open, shift the shape forward into that reptile plank, knee to the outside of the elbow. Last time, send it back. One big hip circle either direction. Stop with the hip open, bring that shape forward into your reptile plank, but then step that left foot forward to the outside of your right hand. From here, you're going to drop that back right knee down, and we're gonna come upright with the torso. Now, same deal, it's a hip flexor stretch, but we're not arching into the low back like this, so I want you to engage the glutes gently, square your hips, and then press the pelvis forward a little bit so you feel that nice hip flexor stretch. All right, from here, your left arm can rest on your thigh or can drop down by your side. On the inhale, right arm is going to sweep up and over, coming into that side bend. On the exhale, rotate chest towards the floor, keeping that side bend, reach your arm to the corner of the room. Undo the spiral, and then come back up and over twice more. Right arm sweeps up, over into your side bend, and then untwist. Come back up and over, final time. Arm sweeps up, come into that side bend, relax your neck. Twist, untwist, and come back up. Okay, from here, hands to the floor, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and I want you to step forward into a low, wide squat. I'm gonna show you from the front. Now, if this is too intense, you can always put yoga blocks or books under your butt so that you're actually sitting on something, or just don't go as low, all right? From here, you're gonna press out with your arms, chest is broad, and you're just going to give me a little bit of internal, external rotation, twisting side to side. Hands are gonna come to the floor. We're gonna straighten our legs, coming into a brief forward fold. You might rotate the toes forward. And then coming back down wide, sink your hips low, chest lift, slow squat. Let's do that again. Little internal, external rotation. If this is too intense, so just hold. Hands to the floor, hips up, coming into that brief forward fold. Last time, open up, sink low, chest is lifted. Little twist side to side. Hands to the floor, forward fold. This time, hang out here. And I want you to just bend into one knee, and as you do, dip the same shoulder towards it and just move side to side like that a few times. We're coming into our final little portion of this mobility video, which will be standing. So kind of making our way from the ground up. Let's go one more time each side. Come through center, and you're gonna roll up slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Head is the last to lift, shoulders open. All right, final little part of work. All right, for this last section, you might want a chair or something to hold on to help you with balance. Otherwise, let's get right to it. So start standing with your feet about hips distance apart, and we're gonna shift our weight into the left foot, and you're going to bend that right knee, lift it up to hip height. Now square or level off your pelvis here, so I don't want you hitching up or down through one side. Core is active, and we're going to take a little internal and external rotation of this right hip. So you're going to bring your ankle out, knee rotates in, and then you're just going to switch it. That ankle swings around to the other side. So it's like a little windshield wiper, swish, swish, but your challenge here is to keep a level pelvis as you do this. Easier said than done. Don't go for a big range of motion. It totally depends on your hip flexibility. For example, I have very little internal rotation. That's all I can do without dumping into my pelvis. Let's do one more time, swishing side to side. Come back through center, and now we're going to shift this right leg back as we hinge forward. I'm going to show you from the side. So coming into sort of an airplane balance here. You're going to bend into your front left knee and gently bring the right toes down towards the floor so that you're in a lunge position. Now bend that back knee, torso up, and I want you to reach your arms up to the ceiling so we're in a split lunge. From here, we're going to straighten both legs, and as we do, we are going to hinge forward with the torso, long spine, bring your chest almost parallel to the floor, and then you're going to bend into both knees, bring the arms back up. Let's do that again. So straighten the legs, arms reach back, long spine, almost parallel to the floor, or as close to it as you can get, back to that split lunge. Just a couple more times, opening up through the back of that front leg. Last time, split lunge. Straighten through the legs, arms extend back. Now hold here and just check, are your hips square? You might need to take this back right hip and shift it forward a little bit. Grow a little longer. Bend both knees, step that back right foot forward. We come to standing. Let's do the other side. Okay, so we are going to shift the weight into our right foot now, balancing on this side. You're going to bend that left knee and bring it up just to hip height. Okay, level off through your pelvis, and let's take that little windshield wiper motion. External rotation, internal rotation. Again, you can hold on to something to help with balance here. So you're just thinking of that femur bone, that thigh bone, rotating in the hip socket. Ankle comes to the outside, whoop, and the inside. One more. Come through center, and now with a softness to this standing right knee, you're going to extend that left leg back, hinging forward into that kind of airplane balance. With control, bring that back left foot to the floor. So square off your hips, so you might need to take that back left hip, draw it forward a little bit, bend your back knee, bring your torso upright, arms reach up to the ceiling. We're in a split lunge position. Now we're going to straighten through the legs. As we do, your hips go back, your torso grows long, arms go behind you, long spine. Bend, bring the arms back up. Move fluidly through that. Straightening through the legs. You want to keep your hips square forward as you do this. So think of drawing that back left hip forward a little bit. Two more. Next time, I want you to hold legs straight and arms airplane behind you, broad across the collarbones, long spine, and now make sure the hips are square. Stay for a breath, grow a little longer, and soften into that front knee. Step both feet forward, one final stretch here, and then you are done. I want you to inhale, bring both arms up overhead, grow long. Exhale, drop those arms, shake it out. One final time. Inhale, rise up onto your tippy toes, take up space, get nice and tall. Exhale, let it go. All right, awesome job. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you know the drill. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you here tomorrow.